Former 49ers defensive coordinator, now head coach of the Jets, had huge praise for Fred Warner. Obviously, Robert Saleh was on the staff when Fred Warner was drafted, so he had a huge hand in the development of Fred. And when he was asked by the New York media about Fred Warner, he said two particular things that really stood out to me. And I have some film to back up one of the things that he was saying because Fred was all over the place. He was an absolute missile and he was making stops left and right and definitely saved a couple touchdowns, maybe two. But take a listen to Robert Saleh as he heaps praise and well-deserved praise on Fred Warner right here.
Plays that maybe could have been big gainers. What did you see?
Yeah, Fred is. I'll go ahead and say it. The guy's a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I know a lot of people don't. I don't know if a lot of people recognize that, but he is. He is. At times during the game, it felt like there were three of them out there. The way he was running around, and so it's really. It was a different feeling being on the opposite sideline for the first time ever in his career to watch it, and he did a lot of things that. There are a couple of plays that are touchdowns versus 25 other teams. And he came out of nowhere to save it. So credit to him. He's an unbelievable football player. But our run game was damn close. And, just like the pass game was close. But, obviously we didn't get the opportunities we wanted.
As I mentioned, I have an example of what Robert Saleh was talking about, and it's pretty awesome to see. But first, him calling him a first ballot Hall of Famer, he's right. And honestly, I think he's the first, prominent person to really say that out loud. I don't think any of us are batting an eye at that notion. Fred Warner has been the best linebacker in the NFL, what feels like since 2019, when it really all came together for him, and he was all over the place. I remember, I think back to that Ravens game, that rainy Ravens game, when he's, covering Mark Andrews downfield. He's covering Hollywood Brown downfield. He's making plays all over the field. He's just a different guy. And, when you've heard Robert Saleh talk about him, he's like, that guy was a nickel coming out of BYU. I remember scouting him coming out of BYU and really liking him, but I had no idea what position he would play. Some thought he would be an edge. Some thought he'd be a safety. Some thought he'd be a nickel. No one knew. And they put him at Mike, and he has absolutely thrived. And we see this type of archetype that the 49ers are interested in, these like hybrid safeties that they turn into linebackers, and they've had a lot of success. But let's break down the play that Robert Saleh, this is just one example of kind of that instance where, the Jets actually could have scored here from about 35 yards out, but because of the middle linebacker, Fred Warner, there was much different plans. So as you can see, he actually is flowing to the left, and then he makes a cut to the right to try to cut this off, and somehow he is able to catch up with Breece Hall on this quick toss to Breece in the flat. And, Breece had an open lane. It looked like he was about to hit a home run hit. And then out of nowhere, there is Fred Warner to make the play. I mean, you see he's going with the motion right there. So it kind of actually takes him a gap away. And then he gets on his horse, and you see the speed and you see his ability to angle. He even goes for the punch too, to try to knock the ball out. And I mean, Breece Hall really has to just beat Fred. If he beats Fred, most likely this is going to be a touchdown. So this is just one of those plays that Robert Saleh was referencing. I mean, when you think about where the ball is with Breece right here, and you look at Fred, just a masterful angle to make sure he can cut this thing off and get that stop right there. So Fred Warner was all over the field. We know Fred has been that guy with the San Francisco 49ers for some time now. But really cool to hear Robert Saleh give him a ton of praise. Really cool to see Fred Warner actually do those things on tape that Robert Saleh talked about. And, I agree. Like, I do believe that Fred Warner is going to be a future Hall of Famer. He's going to be a guy that, we're going to be doing all the stuff with him getting into Canton, getting the call, getting the knock on the door. I can totally see that. I mean, Fred Warner is a pro's pro. He's a leader, not only, what he does on the field, but what he does off the field for his guys. Fred's really just amazing. Considering a third round draft pick, again, didn't know what the position he was going to play, and just everything he's been able to do to come in here and do Fred Warner things has been absolutely remarkable. And he's just been a mainstay with the San Francisco 49ers in literally everything. He's just all over the place, constantly all over the field. His sideline to sideline speed is probably the best in the league right now. I'm not sure anyone has that combination of speed and power and everything he provides. I mean, again, all of that is on display on plays like this. This is the one that we've seen quite a bit where Fred Warner was able to also pop that ball out, just like we saw on the other one. But again, it's a similar concept. He kind of levitates a gap over, then he gets on his angle and he is able to just he's so fast, he's so physical. That punch, he does so much off-season boxing training, and man, you have to assume that that is clearly something that is benefiting him because I don't think there's any holds a stat right now in the NFL in regards to forced fumbles. I'll throw it up on the screen, but just amazing what he's able to accomplish week in, week out, year in, year out, still playing at an extremely high level, and it's not going to stop anytime soon. Fred Warner definitely will be walking into Canton. It's crazy when you think about it. The 49ers have multiple Hall of Fame players playing right now. So it's it's an amazing time. Obviously, the 49ers haven't gotten the ultimate goal with this group, and that's ultimately what we're hoping for. But as it currently stands, right now, there's a lot to be proud of with this team, the amount of talent that they have, the amount of future Hall of Famers that are playing right now. It's just a reminder to not take it for granted. And hey, we don't always get players like this all the time. And the fact that we have a bunch of them, it's pretty darn cool. Let me know what you guys think about what Robert Saleh had to say. Do you agree that Fred Warner is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.